Hi everyone, we're going to be doing a little demonstration today on how to do our June show makeup for our senior students. So we're going to have Lily here today and we're just going to go through the things that we should do. All of the information is on the show handbook, so all of the different pieces that we use are on here. If they're not available in your closest shop, there is no stress. You're going to try to get as close to these colors as possible, but you can use the things that you have at home if you have something, okay? This is just a guide to go by. All right, Lily, so we're going to get started. So I just want to reiterate as well. So the makeup we're doing today is not to make you look gorgeous, ready for a party at the weekend, or it's certainly not everyday makeup, okay? It's special theatrical makeup. So we have to go a shade darker than your normal skin tone, and we can't be shiny at all. So there's none of this highlighting business going on, okay? So it has to be really matte look, because when we're on stage, if we're shiny at all, we tend to look sweaty or we tend to look drawn out with the lights, okay? That's why we have to go a shade darker, okay? So it's not normal makeup. I will be making the eyes a bit crazier than you'd normally wear, okay? The lips will be much brighter, and we're gonna contour as well, just to really make your features stand out on stage, because we want the audience to be able to see you as you when you're even in the back line, okay? So we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with our foundation. We're using a beauty blender today. Okay, so the beauty blender, when you get it in the case, it will be a little bit smaller. Okay, so you can see what this fit into. You have to wet a beauty blender if you're going to use a beauty blender and really drain it out. So it's just a little bit damp, okay? You don't have to use a beauty blender. You can use a brush, you can use your fingers. I just prefer using a beauty blender or a brush. Okay, so we're really gonna put this on nice and thick, okay? Because we want to be seen by the audience when we're on stage and not washed away and looking too pale, okay? So we're just dabbing, 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 blending it all the way in around the skin. So you can see that is much darker than Lily's actual skin tone. So Lily, if you're putting makeup on the weekend just for fun, I wouldn't be using this tone. I'd be going a little lighter, but for stage, we need to be that much darker. Okay, let me see the chin. Now, we also need to make sure that we bring it all the way underneath the chin as well. Get the jawline so that we don't have a white neck compared to our face. I can always go over the upper lip, and if you get some on the lips, is not to worry, it'll actually help you get the lipstick on later. It'll give you a nicer base. Okay, so just dabbing, 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 make sure it's set nicely in. Okay, you don't want it to be streaky. You don't want it to be clumpy. Okay, all the way into the forehead as well, because we don't want a nice line there at the forehead, right? Okay, and all the way underneath the eyes. And we're gonna close the eyes there for me, Lily, thank you. And again, if you start putting this on, and you feel like it's not dark enough or it's not giving you enough coverage, you can always do a second layer to make that little bit thicker. I'm not hurting you, darling, am I?
No.
Good. Okay. Nicely blended in. That's it. Okay. We're just gonna brighten up the underneath of the eyes just a little bit. So I've got a shade lighter just to go underneath the eyes. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. This is just an extra bonus that I usually use. It's just to brighten up the eyes when we're on stage so that they don't look too dark and they really stand out, because we can really tell emotion from the eyes and we want the audience to be able to see. So we're just going underneath the eyes with a little bit of a lighter color, and we're cutting it up in line with the eye. So we're going from underneath and up to the temple, just to brighten up the underneath. Okay, good stuff. Look up for me. Nice. And the same with the other eye. So just underneath the eye and then up along the crease, so that we're just getting nice and bright, so we don't look tired. You don't have to worry about that, Lily. Just to give a little bit more depth to the face as well. Okay, now because we're on stage and we don't want that dewy look, we want it to be nice and matte, we're gonna go in with a powder next, okay? Any translucent powder or this CoverGirl True Blend is fine. It's just to take away the shine that foundation can give you. So a nice big brush, going in with the powder, just getting rid of any of the areas, normally along the T-zone, that has extra shine, or the forehead, especially if you're putting hairspray on your hair, it can give you a shiny forehead that we want to get rid of. So we just give lots and lots of powder just to give it that matte finish. Okay, the powder will also help the makeup stay longer on your face, so that when you're dancing and you get a little bit sweaty and overworked, the makeup will still be on the face at the end of the night and not halfway down. Nice, lovely. Okay. We're going to go in with a little bit of contour next. Again, this is just an extra step that you don't have to do, but I really feel like it brings out your features when you're on stage, okay? It's just to give your face a little bit more depth. I'm just using a normal bronzer right now. If you have a contour palette, fine. You could even use a matte brown eyeshadow for this, okay? We're not blending it like you usually would for a normal makeup. We're making it a little bit sharper because it has to be theatrical stage makeup. So I'm just coming in with a small blusher slash contour brush. And I'm just going in, and you'll see Lily's cheekbone. So Lily, if you just make fish face for me, so suck in your cheeks, that's it. You'll see Lily's cheekbone here. We just want to define that area. So we're just going to go underneath this cheekbone all the way up into the hairline, okay? We don't want to come across past the eyebrow. If we come too close in towards the cheek, we're just going to lose that definition and it's all going to just look too bronzed, okay? So we're coming up along the line, up into the hairline. So just defining the cheekbones, giving ourselves a bit of feature again. And again, normally we'd be blending this out a little bit for everyday makeup, but it's theater, it's stage makeup, it's that little bit more. So don't worry about it, the lines are quite harsh. It's not for people who see you up close and personal, it's so that you can be seen by the audience from a distance. So again, just following that line into the hairline, not coming too close in towards the cheek. Good, and face me. That's it. Nice job. I'm just going to put a little bit just up onto the top of the forehead and just a little bit down the nose just to clean it off. Nice. Good. Okay, coming into blusher next. Okay, and we've got the CoverGirl blusher. Okay, you can use the same brush, just on a different end. You don't need a big chunky brush. A small one or a medium-sized one could do. If you want to go back in with your powder brush, you can do that too. Just make sure to brush off the excess before you go back in with your powder, or you're gonna have a very pink face, okay? And it's just to bring out the cheeks, okay? So you're not gonna draw it along the contour line. You're gonna bring it in more to the apple of the cheeks. Okay, and again, it's not everyday wear makeup. We're going a little bit thicker than that, okay? So just at the cheek and swipe it across. Again, just at the cheek and swipe it across. That's it. And it's just to make you look a little bit of life, because when the lights are on stage, they really washes out and we get very pale. So this is just showing off, again, your features. So you can see already, Lily, you look gorgeous. Excellent. Okay, so that's basically the face that we've done, okay? We're gonna go in with the eyes next. I'm gonna go into a step here that you don't have to do. I would recommend that you do it because it can really change the shape of your eye, and it's eyebrows. Okay, now Lily, you didn't have anything for your eyebrows today, and because you're blonde, you would need a much lighter brown. I am just gonna use my color brown on Lily today, just to give you an idea. And as you can see, I'm a very different hair color. So it might look extreme today, but just, you would use a different color, okay? And the reason why we do this is just going to outline the eye a little bit more. So we want to bring a little bit more arch to the eyebrow, but we follow along our own eyebrow line. And as we do this, it brings the entire eye up higher so that we don't look too dark in the eyes when we put eyeshadow on. Nice, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not too dark. Lovely, so you can see the difference between Lily's eyebrows right now. One brings the eye up. You can really see it. Good, I'm just gonna do the other eye. Sorry, Kira, I'm gonna come on this side of you. This is the issue with being left-handed. And again, I'm going into every single detail here on a stage makeup. The most important aspects would be the eyes, getting the eyeliner, getting the mascara, the foundation and the blusher, and then the lips. These extra parts are just to give you that extra little bit of detail, but don't panic if you think that's too much or too hard. You just do the best you can with what you have. Let me just look for a second. I'm just gonna bring this one up a little bit higher. And I'm just gonna put out there that eyebrows should be sisters, not twins. So if there's a little bit of difference between them, it's all good. Okay, time for eyeshadow. So, the eyeshadow that we're gonna use today is just the same one that's on the show handbook. It's the CoverGirl one. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah, and it's just some browns, okay? So there's a light kind of a beigey color, and then there's some various tones of brown. So we really want to keep the darker colors to the edge and to the crease of the eye and just sweep the rest of the eye with the beigey color, okay? If we bring the dark too close to the lid or too high to underneath the eyebrow bone, the eyes are just gonna look black. You're not gonna be able to see your features. This is just to enhance your eyes to make them nice and wide on stage, okay? So I'm gonna go in first with the darker color. This is just how I do it. If you do it differently, go ahead. But this is how I do it. So I'm gonna use a little bit of a thicker brush that's a little bit more together so it's not as fluffy. And I'm gonna go in with the darkest brown that we have here. So I'm gonna go in with this color. Now, again, this is not normal makeup, so it's gonna go on a little bit heavier. I would recommend just tapping just to get the excess off, because you don't want the excess to sweep underneath the eyes, okay? So just tap, and then instead of swiping with the dark color, we're gonna dab or pat. So I'm just gonna get you to close your eye for me and lift up those eyebrows for me. And we're just gonna dab into the lower outer corner. Again, dab. So I'm not sweeping, I'm trying to layer the color to make it as pigmented as possible. You mightn't, if you have a darker color here or a higher pigment in your eyeshadow, you mightn't have to put on as many layers. Just use what you have available. With this CoverGirl, I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker, so I'm gonna add a few more layers. So you see, I've just put it in to the outer corner. Okay, I'm gonna do the same with the other eye. Just open up your eye for me, Lily. Perfect. Okay, close it, and I'm dabbing again into the outer crease of the other eye. So you're trying to open the eye up, not close it. So if I was to go too high up, too close to the brow bone here, it'll bring the eye down, and you want to open the eye. So that's why we're staying close to the lash line and just bringing it out to the corner edge underneath the crease. Good, and you can see I'm after getting a little bit here. All you have to do is get your powder brush, don't throw it around like I'm doing, but get your powder brush, and if you just quickly sweep it across, it disappears. If you use your fingers and rub, you're rubbing it in. So you want to use a brush to sweep it out. Okay, now let's just bring this across the eye. So we find the crease. So the crease of your eye is where, when your eyes are open, where that crease happens. We don't want to go too high above it, but we're just going to blend it out along that line. So you don't want it too dark. You just want to blend it out along that line. And on the other eye as well. Good stuff. Good. Okay. Now, as well, if you have that bronzer or that contour, you can use this as your eyeshadow too. So I'm going to just show you the exact same color bronzer that I used for the contour. If you didn't have eyeshadow, you could use this too, and it will just give that color and that depth just to the corner as well. Again, matte would be the preference. A little bit of shimmer on the eyes, there's never any issue, but you definitely don't want any shimmer on the face. Okay, there we go. And just open up your eyes for me. Lovely. Excellent. Okay, time for some eyeliner. This is the tricky part, okay? So you can use liquid liner, you could use pencil. If you're a beginner, pencil might be a little bit easier for you because you can smudge it out and you can fix it a little bit better. Liquid is a bit tricky. Normally you tend to get one eye really, really good, and then you go for the second one and it gets thicker, and then you have to go back to the first one and it gets even thicker. Just do your best shot, okay? We are going to wing the liner today, but just a small amount. It's not going to be a really, really big wing. So what I'm going to get you to do, Lily, is I'm going to get you to not close your eyes, but just to look all the way down. Even further down if you can. That's it. Perfect. Get as much excess off the brush, okay? If you can do this in one sweep, it's your best friend, okay? So I normally start just 3/4 across the eye, and I sweep along the lash line up to where just before I finished the eyeshadow. That's it. Okay. And let's try the other eye. And this is when it gets tricky being a left-handed person. Close the eye, look all the way down. And I'm going to do the opposite way on this eye just because I am left-handed and it's a bit trickier. Okay, let me just fix that. Lovely. Remember, the eyeliner doesn't have to be perfect, okay? I'm certainly not getting it perfect right now. Sorry, Lily. But it's because no one's going to be up this close looking at your eyeliner. It's to give shape to your eye before the mascara so the audience can see it. They're not going to see if the line isn't perfect, okay? Plus the mascara hides a lot of that, okay? We're going to go into mascara next. Lily, I would actually recommend maybe getting a little bit of a darker black for your eyes for the next time, okay? Now, mascara, where would I find? Oh, perfect. Again, if you're doing someone else's makeup, I would recommend you telling them to look down, not to close their eyes. When your eyes are closed, your bottom lashes can get stuck with your top. So looking down, you're still able to pull along the lash without getting stuck with the bottom ones. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to look down. You're gonna get all the way to the bottom and give it a little shake and then pull. And a little shake and then pull. And giving it that little shake right at the bottom is what's gonna help curl the lash upwards. Try not to blink because we're gonna get it everywhere. Good, and I would recommend having a makeup wipe or a baby wipe on hand in case it goes anywhere. It can come off quite easily. So again, bottom, shake, pull. Bottom, shake, pull. Now, before Lily opens her eyes completely, because she especially has lovely long eyelashes, and we don't want to get them up on the top, we don't open our eyes, just we count to 10. And I'm going to get a little paper towel for a moment, because I don't have a baby wipe. And we're just going to get rid of some of that excess mascara that I got on you. So not to worry if you make small mistakes like this, they're easily fixed. And you just take a little bit off. And then you just come in a little bit with your beauty blender again. And your powder. And mistake is finished. Okay, they should be dry-ish. Excellent. Okay, now what we're gonna do is you're gonna look all the way up for me and look up with your chin. Okay, and this is when we're gonna do the bottom lashes. Don't worry about getting too close to the eye because you're only really needing just to get the bottom lash, the very end of it. If you wanna do this, you can try it this way or you can go side angle. For fidgety people who keep blinking, I would recommend just getting the very tip of the eyelash with the top of the wand. If you're doing it yourself, you usually know how you wear your mascara. Okay, nice and up here, close your eyes for me. Just get rid of the excess.